Today I'm going to talk about the fear which made me a little bit coward, pussy, an absolute cunt because it was such a horrible fear to have. It just paralyzed my life and just I lost myself and couldn't really express my whole personality. So this fear is actually fear of getting criticized. So let's just go a little bit deep than just my life. So Napoleon Hill in his great book talks about that when you're afraid to be criticized by somebody, it is actually killing your fullest gift as an individual. And the reason is that it makes you more coward. It is actually killing your ambition and your ability to negotiate, your ability to start a new thing. And this fear is very universal, and we have a very high developed fear of getting criticized. And the reason is actually our history. So first of all, I want to take my view, and then Napoleon his views as well, because his view is more important than mine. But imagine the people who were criticized all the time, those guys were dying. Okay? So Napoleon's way is that because people were dying, we have in our hereditary makeup that you need to be afraid of getting criticized, because if you don't, you will die. You will get burned like a fucking Giordano Bruno, which is a badass guy, by the way. The badass guy who doesn't give a damn. Yeah, but you will die like him. Okay? So we have this hereditary makeup programmation that you need to be afraid what other people think about you. Okay? So my view is that, okay, that's absolutely perfect, but I want to add something even more. So people who were not afraid, who were not giving a damn about getting criticized or not, those people died. Yeah. A lot of them died. A lot of people like them died, unfortunately. And because they didn't left their kids, their whole DNA, right? It's just evolutionary. Their genes lost. And just like the warriors, right? The soldiers were dying and the cowards and cunts were living, right? They live forever and brave men dies faster, right? So I'm not saying on this videos that you guys have like a cunt generation. No. I'm just saying right now talking about getting criticized. Okay, so how it actually touched my life so that it could be more good example. So when I was a kid, like young kid, teenager, I was stuttering. Like I would say, like the age I became a teen, from that age until I end my teenage years, I was stuttering all the time, all the fucking time. And I don't really believe that I had like a big difficulty and like big diagnosis. I didn't have it. I feel like if I were not getting criticized by people, I would definitely cure the problem in a year, but it took me 7 years. So the people I loved, the people who loved me, people I considered as my friend, as my best friend, all those people were criticizing me all the time. In fact, just laughing at me and making jokes on me, okay? So when I was a young kid, and as a young kid, if you're not tough, you really care about what other people think about you. And the people you love, they are actually laughing at you and criticizing you all the time. And the people who you don't know, they feel pity about you, that, oh my God, you're a stutterer, oh my God. And like every time you see in their eyes that they're sorry. And imagine that kind of experience for 7 years. Oh my God, that's fucked up. And by the way, let's go back to a little bit of criticizing thing, that when you're criticized all the time, your genes are dying as well, because you know that no one's gonna like you, because women knows that if you're getting criticized, you're gonna die pretty soon. So you're not getting laid, and you're not just actually getting any kind of a generation. Okay, so let's go back to my example. So I was getting criticized all the time, and that thing actually changed my personality really very much, because I start to care what other people think about me more than my actual opinion. And that's why I was not like, I remember when I was in a classroom, when I was in school, I always hate the part when teacher asks students, can you read this part for me on the board or in the book? And when that part was starting, I was always going out in the bathroom. And the reason was that I don't want to read because I had a hard time to read stuff because I was stuttering all the time. And it was such a harsh moment when I remember, but it's actually, to be honest, that's the biggest blessing and most grateful moments of my life, because that thing made me strong. Very tough motherfucker. And Napoleon Hill had a child who was a thief. And, like in this chapter, that chapter is the third chapter, which I'm going to review later. He talks about that every disadvantage could be turned into your biggest advantage in life. And that's how I see it right now. But I'm saying that experience was absolutely harsh when people you love and people who love you and care you, you consider them as a best friend, relatives, they all laugh at you and criticizing you all the time. It makes you coward cunt, absolute pussy, with the whole meaning. And that's why Napoleon said in his book that, I love that phrase, by the way, the parents who are criticizing their children should be punished by law. I was like, God, that's too much. But I love it. And that was my whole experience. But now let's go back to the book. And the book, he talks about that how getting criticized is used in business. So for example, they're changing cars and phones all the time and the PCs all the time, not because the new versions are better than the last one, no, because they're changing, so it's like a new one, right? And the people who don't have a new one, they're getting criticized, so they buy it. So, and as well as how the whole fashion works, right? If you don't have this new style, by the way, new style is not designed by buyers, it's designed by companies, right? Designers. So if you don't have a new designer's suit, you're a little bit like a bum. So you buy it. You buy a new suit, you buy a new fashion, a trend, right? Because you don't want to get criticized. So this chapter was like very important for me. Personally, might be important to you. But when I was like in the medical school, I was always so afraid to get criticized by my parents, like, because I wanted to leave fucking damn college. But guess what? I fucking left medical college and living the life I want to have and I will have. And I feel when I just stop giving a damn, and when you stop giving a damn, doesn't mean that you disrespect those people. No, it doesn't mean that. It only means that you respect yourself more than others, and you should. And when I start to do that, like, I became more happy, more brave, more confident, expressing my fullest gift as an individual. And that's how I live my life. And I'm so happy to have the kind of privilege to have a life like that. So this chapter is very important. And the advice I can give you from this chapter, from after observing this material a lot, and as from my experience, is that just remove those people. It's so easy. Okay, people who are criticizing you, just remove it. Block, delete. Don't kill them, but just avoid those people. You don't need that kind of people. So for example, when I started to making these videos, I was like, okay, there's gonna be some people who will criticize me. I was like, yeah, I don't give a damn. But when you're starting something from scratch, you just want to have the most good feedback ever. Not criticizing, because you can criticize yourself or your own. You don't need somebody else to criticize you, right? So I was like, okay, I don't really give a damn, but like, I don't want to feel bad. I want to feel good. So I was like, okay, let me just block those people. I blocked my parents, my friends, my relatives. I was like, okay, fuck them all. I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn. You know, I don't give a damn, because they will criticize me. So like, okay, goodbye. And they started to criticize me blocking them. I was like, yeah, that's what I do. So when you stop caring what people think about you, it's so good. First of all, it's such a good feeling. It's so good. But second is it really helps you to grow as an individual and grow your company, your business, your entrepreneurial life, anything. Because when you stop giving a damn, you're actually free to be who you really are, as well as to do what you really want to do. And that's my experience. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend you to stop giving a damn and give a damn about yourself. I'm going to see you tomorrow from the next sphere.